All right, hey. Um, yeah, and just to get this out of the way, if you want to see more MHayashi, don't forget to like and subscribe. And you can always unlike it, unsubscribe later on if you don't like it. But the channel's growing, man, and it's exciting, and it's all thanks to you all. I appreciate it. Anyway, it's that time. It's that time again. It's that time where we try to actually get some wins with mono green mid-range. Yes, I know in the past I played Infect. And yes, I know probably the objectively best mono green deck is mono green Tron. I know. I don't like that either. But mono green Tron, while being at least 50% better, okay, let's be honest, it's probably more than 50% better. This deck is more than 500% more fun. So, I think it all balances out in the end. Um, I have played a previous version of this deck in the past, and and yeah. So what is new here? Well, okay, kind of hard to remember even what the last version really was. But what? Oh yeah, because actually I think I had. Was I playing Hayward in the main before? I can't remember. Okay, look. So the biggest difference, obviously, this time is that we are playing the Black Splash in the main, which I guess means technically it could be a little disingenuous for us to really call this mono green, but I think that we are fully in the right to call this mono green, even though we technically have a black splash in the main. And I'll tell you why. It's because none of our cards actually require any black mana in the main deck. Dismember only requires uh, life. You can pay black mana into it, but you can cast it only with paying life and one colorless. Tear Asunder can be cast with green mana, although, granted, there will be some matchups where they won't play artifacts or enchantments, and therefore it won't hit anything unless you pay black. Then again, by that logic, there are some matchups where they don't even play any non-land permanents. Those are very rare, though, nowadays. Um, Man, like Legacy Storm, even Legacy Storm plays Lion's Eye Diamond. Not that they ever produce that, for in a situation where Tear Asunder would ever do anything. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And Mosswood Dreadknight, of course, can be adventured, but but technically you can just cast this as a 3/2 trample, even without the adventure. So yeah, basically the idea of this deck is just try to kind of produce some nice green beaters, back them up with decent disruption. Actually, I'm not sure I played this last time. This is actually kind of doubling as a sort of mono brown deck of sorts too, because we're actually playing 16 colorless sources in the main, and I know that might sound like too many, but in reality, we just don't play that many. I mean, when you split up the cards between purely colorless and green, a lot of times we have enough to do with our mana enough that it's okay. Plus, Mirrex can produce green mana the turn it comes down, or black for that matter, if we want to play an adventure or something. Um, But yeah, one of the reasons why Mirrex is in this deck, well, actually probably the main reason, is it's kind of a nice win condition all in and of itself, but it also just synergizes very well with Lovestruck Beast. I know it's so janky, but the truth of the matter is Lovestruck Beast is actually still kind of it's really nice as far as just having a big beat stick body. The only downside kind of more or less becomes somewhat frivolous, at least, maybe somewhat at least, frivolous with Mirrex, because you can always produce more creatures. Of course, the thought of Lovestruck Beast falling in love with one of these colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creatures is a little hilarious, but hey, he's just that lonely. We got the usual blast zones, demolition, 8-field package like we're usually using in the decks. The 8-field package, of course, also enabling us to fetch out either forest or our 2 swamps as needed. This is also pretty much turned into our only deck where we're playing Relic instead of Stone of Erex, because even though technically there's this minor non-bow with Mosswood Dreadknight, because they could remove it in response to, they could like kill it in response to us cracking Relic, in which case our Relic will exile on Mosswood. But all in all, there's almost no graveyard dependency in this deck, so might as well play the OG super powerful graveyard hate effect Relic of Progenitus. Mazemind Tome, we saw this in many decks of ours. Probably most commonly the mono black deck. Second most commonly probably mono red or mono white. And occasionally, maybe one day we'll see it in mono blue, but probably not anytime soon. Mono blue is probably one of the decks where we won't see it that much, if at all. But, you know, hey, it still does its thing here. Spatial Contortion, just a very sweet, you know, sort of jank lightning bolt sort of effect. Also, interestingly enough, this can push more damage. I have attacked for lethal at least once by Spatial Contortioning a Lovestruck Beast that had a 1/1 in play so I could attack. That was kind of nice. So, yeah, but most of the time you're going to be using this as like a jank lightning bolt to only the creatures. But I mean, hey, it still gets the job done. And, you know, we really don't have that much to work with mostly mono green, so, you know, we'll take it. And Warping Wail, kind of a better card than it might look at first glance because it actually hits a lot of the most must-answer creatures. You know, it hits Ragavan, hits DRC in the early turns, it hits Bowmaster, it hits Stoneforge Mystic, it hits Esper Sentinel, not that people play that much anymore. I mean, what else does it hit? It hits a surprising amount of stuff. You know, that's you know, what can I say? Yeah, and so countering sorcery spells, there's actually more kind of really must counter sorceries than you might think. There's of course the prime example is there's like Crashing Footfalls or Living End, which are actually technically sorceries, even though they're technically uncastable through normal means anyway. They are technically sorceries, so Warping Wail can counter them. And of course Indomitable Creativity is a sorcery. Lorien Revealed, if they ever hard cast that, you know, we can counter that. There's surprisingly more sorceries than you might think that are surprisingly powerful and very worth countering, so, yep. Mosswood Dreadknight. Oh yeah, so here's the thing, actually, this is the main thing. We're actually running this back because we want to try the new hotness from Wilds of Eldraine that is Mosswood Dreadknight, and it blew my mind that this card was, I think, under $1 a piece. Honestly, I can probably see why, because after playing with this with a little bit, you know, spoiler alert, this is my first league I'm trying this out with, but I had to get a feel for how to best make this work, and, you know, some trial and error was kind of necessary before I could actually get something I felt like was worthy of recording. But while this card is a little slow to get going, at the end of the day, it still ultimately is a 3/2 for 2 mana, with trample no less. And being able to recur itself is just very nice. I have ultimately come to the conclusion, and I think there's been articles written about this as well. I think the main problem is if you're playing Dreadknight to be a draw engine, it's just not going to be that good because you can't count on it dying reliably. Like, unless you have a way to sacrifice it, in which case there's probably way better draw engines. It's just not that good as a draw engine. What it is good at, however, is being a slightly above curve beater that kind of the opponent has a really hard time dealing with, and that's kind of how we're using it here. Sometimes we won't be able to play Dread Whispers, but you know, we should have consistent enough access at least to swamps later in the game that it's actually a very strong top deck a lot of times, where normally a 2-mana 3/2 trample would be not a very strong top deck late in the game. This card becomes a surprisingly strong one thanks to being able to have relatively consistent access to swamps. Tear Asunder, this is our only deck that straight up can answer a One Ring once it comes into play outright, and that's kind of sweet. The fact that we can also use the black mana to hit literally anything is actually kind of necessary because we don't actually have any Planeswalker hate in this deck otherwise, so if we want to deal with a Planeswalker, we have to grab a swamp. Yeah, it also deals with a creature of any size. It's just surprisingly versatile, but the fact that it also is just very relatively cheap and efficient artifact and enchantment hate, in addition to being a catch-all for almost anything if we can put more mana into it, is just kind of sweet overall. And Wall of Blossoms, I mean, you know, Wall of Omens was so good in mono white, we might as well try it here too. At the end of the day, this card helps us stay alive, and staying alive is kind of important. And not having to go down a card either to stay alive. Like, digging us deeper in the deck while helping us stay alive. I mean, hey, what can I say? Yeah, Dismember, best removal spell that we have access to in mono green. Enough said. Obviously, we see how indispensable this card is in mono blue. That is no less the case here in mono green, maybe even more so. And Lovestruck Beast. So, yeah, I've already explained a little bit. Lovestruck Beast synergized very well with Mirrex. But I also have to say, like, one of the biggest appeals to me to playing Lovestruck Beast is not necessarily just the 3 mana 5/5 body, which, I mean, that's not bad, not by any means. But an argument could be made that Tarmogoyf is oftentimes bigger. Of course, we'd have to lose out on Relic. And we'd also lose out on this deck essentially being a budget deck. I mean, I do have the little dollar signals, dollar symbols here indicating budget. But the reality is, there's no, at least in this build, there's no more budget card that I mean, there's no like non-budget card I'd like to swap here, at least not presently. And yeah, Lovestruck Beast is just very solid because in addition to being a very above curve body for 3 mana, it also kind of blocks Rakdos well because of the Heart's Desire. Yeah, sure, they can remove it, but the main thing is a lot of times I can live with getting hit by Rakdos. What I can't live with is not even putting up a fight. Because hear me out, at least if they have to spend 1 mana to remove whatever I put in front of Rakdos, at least it kind of restricts their ability to cast stuff off the top of my library. If they are hitting their land drops, it restricts them to only a card that costs 2 mana or less. And if they're missing their land drops, they can't even play something that costs 2 mana. And while it might sound like that's not such a big deal, it has come up in the past where just being able to present a blocker for Rakdos is the difference between winning and losing. And in mono green, we just don't have that many. Like, we don't have like Piracy Charm or something in blue. So like, oddly enough, mono blue actually is a little bit better positioned for dealing with Rakdos, ironically, than mono green. So this is kind of the best we've got, but it's also just kind of a very solid card in its own right. So I just like that this card doubles as just being a solid beater, while also being kind of on Rakdos duty. Not perfect by any means, and this probably, like if they ever print a green Piracy Charm, this card probably gets cut, but we just don't have a lot of beaters though, that's the problem. Oh yeah, also you can play the Warping Wail 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion token for this Lovestruck Beast to fall in love with as well. Man, this guy's really desperate, man. He's even going for the alien creatures. But hey, anyway, yeah, it is what it is. Look, this deck is it's kind of a meme just because I want a mono green mid-range deck. So we're playing 6 Ratchet Bomb effects. I mean, at the end of the day, we just don't have that many good mono green removal spells. We know Ratchet Bombs have done us very well in the past. Might as well continue the love for them here, where they're even at a premium because we just don't have that many other removal options available anyway. Haywire Might, of course, for extra ring hate, and also just lots of, an argument could be made that Haywire Might is better and more synergistic than Tear Asunder because of Lovestruck Beast. My first builds actually had it that way, but I quickly figured out that I needed some way to actually deal with Planeswalkers, let alone big creatures like Murktide, especially ones outside of range of Dismember. So Haywire Might still in the deck, just a sideboard card for now because Tear Asunder just plugged way more holes in the main deck at least. And of course, March of Wretched Sorrow is technically a black removal spell, so you might be wondering, why am I playing this rather than something like Fatal Push? Very simple. Aside from the fact that this hits Planeswalkers in addition to creatures, it's just, the thing is, I feel like I'm not often going to be able to cast a black removal spell until a little later in the game because I'm just not set up to get early black mana. It can happen sometimes, but not consistently. So since I'm oftentimes not getting black mana consistently until a bit later in the game, I kind of want a black removal spell that I put into my deck to kind of really count. And I think March of Wretched Sorrow is kind of the definition of counting. It helps shore up the burn matchup by gaining more life. It helps deal with Planeswalkers because sometimes Tear Asunder by itself is just not enough. It helps deal with I don't know, just a lot of stuff. Is it perfect? No, of course not. But I mean, if we're not necessarily going to be packing a lot of, if we're not necessarily going to be able to access black mana until a little later in the game anyway, might as well make the black removal spell that we're, kind of building toward really count. So that's my thinking with March, and it's been surprisingly good in that regard. Yeah, and with that, I think there's nothing left to do than just see how this all played out. All right. All right. Match 1, and we are off to the races. I honestly have no idea why I kept this hand, but I did. And I guess it's because I have Dismember into turn 2 Mazemind Tome, which can hopefully, oh, or just what is this card called? Dead Whispers on turn 2, I guess. Okay, well, this is not good, but actually we have Warping Wail, so maybe things are looking better for us than they seem at first glance. Ooh, they're not seeing this one coming. Let's warp some whales, shall we? Now, I mean, I'm not under any illusion that this is some kind of a ultimate victory here, but hey, I'll play some Mosswood. Ooh, oh, no red mana, so that's a good start. Ooh, Relic of Progenitus, and they insta scoop. This is Magic Tonga. They're like one of the top living in players. I don't know why they feel the need to insta scoop to mono great mid range, but okay. Okay. Match 1, game 2. So, okay, full disclosure, I completely botched the sideboarding on this one. This was a misclick. I've got Spatial Contortion still in the deck, and Warping Wail got sided out. That was obviously supposed to be the other way around. I remember this. I remember this was infuriating, and I almost wanted to insta scoop. But hey, we're gonna pretend that we actually lost game 1, and you know, if we lose this one, then maybe everything's. Yeah, nah. You know what? We're gonna just hope. We're gonna hope for the best. I mean, hey, Magic Tonga arguably gave us a win that we may not have deserved by scooping too early. We might as well return the favor by not, well, not return the favor, but we might as well try not to make the same mistake and automatically assume we're gonna lose. We do. Do we even have anything to bring in here? I guess I brought in March. Yeah, literally, I de-sideboarded. The Spatial Contortion was supposed to turn into March. There aren't too many, targets for Spatial Contortion, but March could potentially break a close stalemate if it crumbles that way. But well, anyway, let's go. Hey, we have Relic in our opening hand. I think this is an insta keep. Well, watch. I'm sure they got Force Negate. Okay. Well, I'm sure they've got some kind of removal spell. Yeah, might as well get a Heart's Desire out there. Okay, no removal spell yet, but I mean, they've got tricksy tricks up their sleeves. I would have felt so much better if the Spatial Contortion was what it was supposed to be, namely oh man, this is just bad on so many levels. Oh no, actually maybe it's not. For the most part, they actually don't play instant speed. Yeah, because that's sorcery speed, so they couldn't respond and hit the relic without giving us the opportunity to crack. And they couldn't have played Mullen Outburst either because we would have had the 1 mana at the same time they did. I wonder if this is actually where the 8 fields actually really show their worth. I just don't play that many basics. Okay, so, but this is more manageable. The Generous Ent is obviously the bigger issue. But we do have a Lovestruck Beast, which is actually surprisingly beefy. We can combine the Spatial Contortion with the Lovestruck Beast, or we can just go on the offensive. Yeah, that works too. This could be where we see that March coming in handy, like I was describing in the deck tech. And Spatial Contortion actually might still come into play. Why am I not contorting that Ignot Chewer? I have no idea. Oh, I know why. Maybe because I want to Spatial Contortion my own Lovestruck Beast in response to I don't know. No, I know why, actually, because I needed that. Right, I explained it already. I needed that to trade. So, oh, we're going to keep cranking out Mirrex tokens. Or putting this to Generous Ent territory. Okay, now they scooped right after this, and my best guess is it's because they drew all the rest of the living ends. Sometimes you win that way, and that, my friends, is why you don't scoop, even when you horribly botch the sideboarding. Okay. All right. Let's get on to match number 2. Oh man, versus Rakdos Scam. Oh no, it's mono black burn. Oh boy, we get quite a treat here. I think this is one of our better. This is a deck where we have one of the better matchups against burn in general. Whether that translates into mono black burn, I do not know for sure. Sleeper Agent is an interesting one. So they get to drain us and deal with Mazemind Tome. That's not ideal. Okay, I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't have any basics left, but, you know, can't. Okay, the Nightmare. Well, we could have a good Blast Zone, although these hopeless Nightmares are not, I mean, like, the Scry is not super relevant, but I can also get rid of the Nezumi with Blast Zone. Ooh. Okay, we just have to establish a clock. Well, not just, but we have to establish a clock. Oh, they got us. Yep. Okay. So for game 2 and match 2, sideboarding, Dismember is an easy takeout for Haywire because Haywire gains life, whereas Dismember loses it. Pretty easy call in my opinion. Plus they've got plenty of artifacts and enchantments as we saw last game. If we hit a Gonti's Machinations before it gets any energy counters, that could be pretty nice. I'm not so sure about Wall of Blossoms, where the only creature they play early on for the most part is a creature they give to us anyway. So that can come out for March of course, March of Wretched Sorrow. Gain massive amounts of life. And I'm actually bringing in 3 Ratchet Bombs, 1 Filigree Sylex instead of the Relics, just because they do play a lot of Okiba, Reckoner Raid, and a lot of other stuff, which oftentimes does at least afford us enough time to ratchet it up. So let's go. Well, hey, it's not perfect, but it's a keep. We are going to hope that the fields do good work. And they're presenting lands. Yeah, let's Spatial Contortion that. Yeah, yep. Yeah, might as well get that out of our hand. Sometimes they play Thoughtseize or something. I could hit Hopeless Nightmare, but no reason to do that just yet. An argument can be made that that was a little too aggro. Okay. That was a little aggro of them too, but I guess whatever they pitched was pretty free pitch. No, they pitched Reckoner Raid. I mean, if they pitched like that card that they reveal and deals 3 damage, it's another story. Okay, let's March of Wretched Sorrow this for big life. Yeah, hit that while they're tapped out. Also keep them off of green, hopefully. It's pretty nice. So we can sacrifice this in response. Oh, we should have sacrificed in response, but we forgot that we can play around their army token if we do that. In reality, that was a very obvious hit. Oh, they get to scry 2 when I destroy it. Good to know. Machinations. Tear that asunder. Yep, and that's the power of having a relatively beefy beat stick. Alrighty. Let's go. I'm not sure if I keep this or not. It's kind of a close call, but I think with Haywire Might and with Mazemind Tome in the mix, I think I like my chances. We even drew removal spell to boot. Not bad. Which we can play off of totally colorless, and which we have found a very reasonable target. Gotta love it. Plus, they seem to have taken a mulligan of some sorts. Alrighty. Yeah, we just want to get this Mazemind Tome so we can hopefully gain life sooner. I'm a little surprised I took, but I guess I wanna race them. Makes sense. We put that to the bottom. Tear Asunder, I think, also to the bottom. Yeah. Yeah, because this actually shuts off both the Leech and the Reckoner Raid, and they are without any permanents now. Hopeless Nightmare. Okay. Alright, yeah. I think we kill them quicker with Lovestruck Beast than the 4 life from Mazemind Tome. Okay, might as well gain the 4 life now before they can somehow kill us out of nowhere. That's a little unfortunate. But actually, maybe we end up just racing them with their own sleeper agent. Alrighty. Alright. Hey, Mono Black Burn is an interesting deck, but I think it actually has a lot of things going over red or even Boros Burn. One day I think somebody is gonna take this to the next level, but it's not today. Maybe it'll be us one day, but probably not. This looks like a sweet deck. I just don't know if it's my style. I've always liked increasing my ways to hit creatures with the burn rather than decreasing them and only going to face. And this deck seems to be more like only go to face, but anyway, it's still a sweet deck nonetheless. Alright, match 3, game 1. Let's bring it on. Oh, that was a uncastable hand, unfortunately. Alright. Man, I got this stupid something like I got some kind of weird malware possibly, but like because it keeps making this dumb pop-up, but I keep scanning my computer relentlessly and using like multiple different free antivirus softwares and doesn't catch anything. Whatever. Hopefully I don't lose everything. Anyway, let's see here. It looks like it's a Storm. Okay. Yeah, I think we should have the wherewithal to beat Storm. We do have Relic after all. Maybe we can keep them off of red too. Ooh, Flame of the Noir. That seems like a good addition to Storm. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have gone after the red source. Disrupting their mana seems like a... but they got too many red sources here. Ooh, Barrel. Alright. Spatial Contortion, okay. We ran them out of basics, but will this be enough? My guess is probably not. Okay. That's kind of a good sign, I think. I wonder. Can we actually... Oh, no. Okay. Ooh. Well, at least this Mosswood Dreadknight keeps coming back here. Boom, 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 boom. 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 Yeah, let's just tear that asunder, play this, try to actually win. Ready. bad. Okay. Alright, maybe we actually get past that. That looked for sure like we were gonna. Oh, and Relic is gonna go a long way to helping us not lose to a top deck. Yeah, whatever you call it. Okay, let's see. How did we sideboard here? We got the we definitely like Spatial Contortion and Warping Wail, and add Baral to the list of cards that Warping Wail can hit. But unfortunately, Goblin Necromancer it cannot hit, but still, it hits half of their threats. Pretty good. So we take out Wall from March. March is just another possible removal spell to take care of those creatures that oftentimes are very important for them going off. Not critically 100% necessary, but oftentimes very important. And we take out Tear Assunder for Ratchet Bomb because we anticipate they're going to bring in Empty the Warrens. And yeah, and I guess that is it. Let's go. Alright, well, this hand doesn't have Graveyard Hate, but it does have a somewhat aggressive curve. We're going to hope that they are on the Empty the Warrens plan, and the Ratchet Bomb could potentially get there. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised we didn't play the Mosswood Dreadknight. I guess I needed to hold up Warping Wail. I should have played the Mosswood. Would it have made a difference? Probably not. Looks like they're comboing off even after Blood Moon. Alrighty. Too bad that's not a sorcery. I almost always go after the mana. Yeah, I just Blood Moon's too brutal. Although I feel like I'm packing it in too easily though, because Ratchet Bomb I could still get the Ratchet Bomb up to 3. I feel like I should at least try to do that before scooping, but yeah. Alright. Match 3. Oh, that's that. No mana to cast any of those spells. I don't know about this. I feel like this is a bad keep, but I know why I kept it. It's the last hand. Sometimes the hand I mulligan from can have a profound impact on whether I mulligan or not, and that's something I think I have to. That's something I think I have to address. I don't think I. Oh, I took out March. What did I take it? What did I bring back in? Not sure. Tear Asunder, I guess. Oh, because of Blood Moon. It makes sense. Now that I saw Blood Moon. I don't want to get got by it again. Alright, Mosswood. Yeah, if they dealt with it, we could have used Mirrex. If they deal with it here, we can use Mirrex to get the adventure. Let's get a black source. Unfortunately, they get a Gifts Ungiven. There's the Empty the Warrens we know about. We kind of want them to play it, so we of course leave that in their hand. Take the Desperate Ritual and Metamorphose. Try to hit that. Alrighty, they got a lot to work with here. Oh yeah, I think I tapped my mana. Oh, but I had to because I needed to kill their Electromancer. This sucks, because I had the Warping Wail, just I didn't have the colorless to cast it. Yeah, this sucks. They got another one, I'm sure. Man, all I needed was one more colorless mana. Maybe I was a little too aggressive with cracking that Field of Ruin. Because ironically, we thought we were color screwed from black and green, but in reality, we ended up being color screwed from colorless. Well, it is what it is. Well, match 4. Let's see what we're going for. Yeah, that hand was tempting, but I'm not going to be tempted by the dark side. Instead, I'm going to try to get there with a very solid, aggressive mono green hand. All right, I'm definitely blocking with this. Unless they Searing Blaze. All right, look, this Searing Blazed a 1/1 human token from Heart's Desire. I think it did its job. Okay, that's interesting. I thought I was going to go Wall of Blossoms, but I guess this makes sense because I can. See, the problem is I don't know if I want to flash this back. I don't think I do. I'm just going to play, yeah, this while I can. I just let the Mosswood Dreadknight die. Alright, definitely should have played the wall. Alrighty, Wall of Blossoms, another Mosswood. I guess I don't have that much life gain in the main deck, but I'm definitely bringing more on the sideboard. Yep. Okay. Okay, match 2. Let's see. Match 4, game 2. Okay, Dismember for Haywire Might is as obvious as against the mono black deck. Tear Asunder, yeah, we can hit the Roiling Vortex and Eidolon if they still play it, but still just too narrow, I think. Definitely, I think we want to be bringing in the Marches for sure. Yeah, bringing in like Haywire and March is a lot of life gain, and I don't think we really have to reach for much else. I think that alone gives us a pretty solid chance. Yeah, this is a keep. It is worth noting that the Warping Wail is also pretty good because a good chunk of their burn is sorcery speed. Alright, we're definitely blocking. 1 mana, gain 2 life, sign us up. Alright, now we're going to Spatial Contortion, letting them trigger draw step first. We're actually going to wait until their block step because if they pump the Monster Swiftspear, we want a Warping Wail, but they didn't play anything, so. Okay, we're going to Warping Wail the Swiftspear now because we, oh, or not, yeah, I forgot, we got the Lovestruck Beast. This is actually a very good play. I much prefer this one because this both blocks their creature and threatens aggression. Next turn, I think this is a good one. The secret best tech against burn is to just be more aggressive. For example, in Legacy, it's not actually the life gain decks that scare burn in Legacy the most. It's the degenerate combo decks that kill even faster. Not that we can kill faster necessarily, but playing for that angle is definitely where we want to be. Yeah, counter. Seems like a good opportunity. Unfortunately, we need some way to make a creature. We could have made a 1/1 creature with Spatial Contortion, but with a Warping Wail. But I think it's better to counter that Rift Bolt. There's certainly an argument can be made. Okay, Exquisite Firecraft. Let's hit that. Maybe they're out of basics. They are. All right. Well, there's our 1/1 token, and there's another one. Okay. Hopefully they don't rip a. Okay, they can't actually kill us outright from this life total, which is nice. And basically we will kill the Swiftspear, and this should be lethal. Yep, let's go. Yep. Alright, match 4, game 3. Yeah, same sideboarding strategy, and I feel good about this one. Yep, and this is a keep for sure. We've got some counter magic, we've got some life gain. Yeah, I think as tempting as Haywire Might is, I think this is a job for Heart's Desire. Ooh, March. That's a nice one. I guess, unfortunately, if I'm going to play it like this, I'm a little bit worried about Skullcrack, but they didn't play Skullcrack. I'm definitely blocking. I'm blocking every day of the week and Sunday. I think we play Lovestruck Beast. Yep, it's just too good at being a blocker. It's like a super wall. With their mana screw, I'm not particularly hawkish on this game. So I could Warping Wail here, and I think I'm seriously considering it, but at the end of the day, once again, I just go for the slightly safer option of just Warping Wailing the Rift Bolt. But I think that time I was thinking if I want a Warping Wail to Lovestruck, but the problem is then I attack, they don't block. and then I have to end up deciding whether I block with it or not. I just didn't see that. Alright, just gonna do that before they could play Skullcrack Mana. And we're definitely, yeah. Alrighty, that's a strong card. Play that. Play that. There's the Skullcrack we were playing around. If only Wall of Blossoms also counted as a 1/1 while also having the stats it has. But that's just silly. Alrighty, well, I think I'm Warping Wailing. Yep, I'm Warping Wailing. And see, there's just a lot of nice synergies with this deck, like the Warping Wail to help the Lovestruck Beast attack. Oh, that's not nice. But at least I floated the mana, gained 4 life. Ooh, I shouldn't have done this in the Declare Attacker step because that sucks. No, next turn. Well, they still could have waited till my beginning of combat step, even if I didn't wait until then. Alrighty. Ooh. Alright. Well, we can always March of Wretched Sorrow our own Lovestruck Beast. We'll just hit our own Wall of Blossoms. Yeah. While they're tapped out. Kind of have better safe than sorry. So we can Mirrex and we can start attacking. I guess they see, and they've had enough. All right, well we're 2-0 against Burn, Mono Black, and Boros, but you know, what was the other deck we beat? Living End against all odds. All right. Okie dokie. Okala dokala. Yeah, this is a keep. Not sure what we're up against yet. Let's go. I thought see as they take our Warping Wail. Yeah. They get to see the rest of our hand is pretty garbage. Oy. Yeah, let's get the Lovestruck Beast out of here. So it looks like it's Rakdos Scam. Oh, they're just generating a lot more value than me. I mean, sure, I'm kind of beast in a way, but I think I should have played another beast. I needed to just lean into full aggro. Never mind. Good thing I didn't. I think they could have actually dealt with both beasts. Technically, no, they couldn't, but this is grotesque. The real problem is I tapped out the Relic. That's the real problem. Alrighty, I suppose I didn't go after the Fury. Whew, I'm out Doomin. Yeah, man, we should not. No, but unfortunately, we activate the Bowmaster. There's nothing we can do though here. Just all right. Match 5, game 2. Actually, let's see what the mulligan situation. I mean, what the sideboarding situation looks like. I took out Relic. That's weird, especially since I lost last game simply because I didn't keep Relic untapped. What did I put in for that? March? I mean, I agree, bringing in March is good. It's just taking out Relic, I'm not so sure. Wall of Blossoms is great. Just being able to block Ragavan, block random Bowmasters and such. You know, Shaman tokens, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I guess in theory, most of my cards are pretty good. Not like great or anything. Warping Wail deals with Ragavan. That alone is pretty nice, but probably Warping Wail would have been a good card, I think, to take out for March instead of Relic. Yeah, I think Warping Wail probably. They don't play that many sorceries other than Thoughtseize. Yeah. Basically, Warping Wail only hits Ragavan and hits Thoughtseize. Granted, hitting Ragavan is very important. I think that was the play, and I missed it. Alright. But we will keep this one. Warping Wail should be Relic. Let's just consider that. Well, this would have been in play, but making me wonder if Stone of Eric is better, even if we don't use the graveyard, just because, like, right here. You know, it is worth noting, actually, I don't know if I see this, but I can actually hit their Wicked, because this is an enchantment. You know what? I think I missed it. I can totally kill their Wicked token. I think I should have. Oh no, but this doesn't... Never mind, I shouldn't kill this. For some reason I thought that... I don't know. Yeah. For some reason I thought killing the Wicked token would somehow kill it or something. I don't know what I was thinking. Clearly hitting the Wicked token was not where it was at. Alrighty. Just gonna get rid of their lands somewhat. Unfortunately, Lovestruck Beast can't block Dothy. That's the problem. Okay. I mean, we're taking a lot of damage here. Oh, and Dothy even exiled it. Ouch. Oh, ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Yeah, it's unblockable, so dang it. Alright, post-league wrap-up. I mean, hey, can't win them all, but I felt like the deck functioned okay. I wish we could just guarantee that we had a better time against Scam, but I think this is just kind of one of the... There's nothing immediately that jumps out as something that really helps with the Scam matchup. Like, for example, I could play Wrath Effects, but at that point I'm pretty much just converting this into the mono black deck to lean more heavily into the Wraths. As far as being mostly base green, I just don't think there's that much we can do about the Scam matchup. So, you know, it is what it is, but I have liked how the colorless cards complement the green cards pretty well, and I do think that which was the other match we lost here. I do think that Storm matchup was also winnable. I think maybe we just made a really bad keep on the third game. We do have the tools to beat it, and I think that does count for something. I mean, as far as playing a mean mono green deck goes, we have a surprising amount of interaction in the form of Warping Wail, and then, you know, other like Spatial Contortion, Dismember, Tear Asunder later in the game. There's more you can do with mostly green than you might think at first glance, although we're still... The main problem with the deck, I think, is just that the other colors, for the most part, kind of are better at doing a specific thing, and there are no slouches in the other. For example, Lovestruck Beast is probably one of the only things that this deck just straight up does better than most other colors, just being a lot more beefy for a lot less mana. But at the end of the day, like, if you think about it, Bonecrusher Giant isn't that far off from this. I mean, sure, you lose 1 power and you lose 2 toughness, but you also gain the ability to ding them. Plus, arguably, Stomp is better than Heart's Desire. So, like, you know, if you think about it, that's the issue. It's not so much that Lovestruck Beast is bad, it's just kind of Bonecrusher Giant compares pretty favorably overall. And, yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just not so much... yeah, no, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is probably going to be my mean mono green deck. For the time being. We all know at some point I'm probably going to build mono green Tron. The problem with Tron though is it's just a dumb deck. Sorry, Tron players, but it's like it's one of the only decks that's like takes less. I shouldn't say less thought, because Burn is not necessarily. I mean, Burn is obviously easier to play than a lot of other decks, but it's not like a brainless deck. Although it definitely doesn't require as much like crazy attention to detail as, like, to be fair, like Izzet Storm, for example. But Um, yeah, where was it going with this? Anyway, yeah, mono red burn is what it is, but the yeah Tron is like definitely one of the few decks that requires even less kind of strategic decisions than burn. But the other thing too is also like it's so hot or cold. When it is hot, it will cut through the meta like a knife through hot butter or a hot knife through butter. But when it is bad though, it is so bad. For example, if burn is running amok, then Tron's gonna have a very bad day. Being said, mono green Tron is the most tried and true resilient mono green decks that never goes away, unlike elves. Sorry, elves. Um, I don't know. I just don't see myself doing that anytime soon, especially since I got to shell out a lot for the One Rings. What's up? The One Rings we all know are going to get banned at some point. Who knows? Maybe not. I mean, I guess they could just print a whole bunch of artifact and enchant removal in the future that all exiles, and that's what I've been saying from the beginning about the One Ring. I wonder if I should just make a video addressing the One Ring, but the ultimate issue with the One Ring, in my opinion, isn't the insanely busted ability. I mean, heck, like Jace the Mind Sculptor pretty much does the same thing, although it doesn't give you protection of everything. So, the One Ring actually is kind of just straight up better than Jace the Mind Sculptor, if we're going to be honest, which is kind of nuts that they intentionally printed a card that kind of dunks on Jace the Mind Sculptor in almost every way. That is kind of nuts if you think about it. But anyway, we've had powerful 4-drops that pretty much win the game if they don't get dealt with pretty quickly. So it's not really the One Ring. What makes the One Ring isn't crazy isn't the fact that it has that ability. It's the indestructibility problem. That's the thing. It just means that there's just like shattering our beloved Shattering Spree. Like now they have to make a new Shattering Spree that exiles in the next Modern Horizons. Like I feel like that would help a lot in making the One Ring more fair, but then it's just so dumb that they have to do that. I would recommend just banning it so that Wizards doesn't have to print like all the good artifact and enchant removal, just versions of the Modern Master sets that also that exile instead of destroy. But yeah, and that's the thing. Going for mono green Tron when the One Ring is always kind of has a sort of Damocles over its head. I do think the One Ring should be banned, but not because I think I can't beat it. I can, but like I said, it's just I really kind of, I mean, to be fair, actually, Tear Asunder is pretty nice in this deck, so I've actually kind of give the One Ring credit for, making me consider a card I probably never would have considered before. But but I just hate having to play cards like Tear Asunder and other other decks, or I like Haywire Might and all, but I just hate being forced to play it as like my essential artifact and enchant removal in so many of my decks. And that's the main thing. I just hate the way like it warps our decks, it warps our sideboards. More so, it warps our sideboards, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, maybe that's enough for now. But hey, this deck was definitely 500%, if not more, fun than Mono Green Tron. So as long as those stats keep holding up, then I'm not gonna feel too bad. All right, until next time. Oh yeah, and can't forget to do the shout out for the patrons. I have everything in front of me I need so I can do this this time. Adrian King, Gavin Downward. Special thanks to all my patrons. Yeah, Adrian King, Gavin Downward, Daryl, B Train 4, Savage Ooze, Jules Varro, Kevin Roebuck, Roland Schunenman, S. Robertson, HJCLIU, Sophie Skirrup, Erwin Lopez, Stanley Franks, Jeff H., Brian H., Zeke Smith, Andrew Watts, and Michael Patton. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.